Hello, I'm Jeff Cavins, and today we're looking at the readings for the 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Let me ask you a question. How many gods do you have in your life? Now, some people might be offended at that when I ask how many gods, and they're naturally going to come back with, well, I only have one. But when you really look at your life and the allegiances in your life and the time that you spend in, kind of a devotion towards maybe hobbies or sports or something else, some people border on multiple gods. The great contribution that Abraham gave us is he told us really, that there's one God and there's only one, and that's what Israel believed. In fact, the Shema, which is spelled out in Deuteronomy, says, Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. And I know that you would say that you worship one God, and I as well. Well, in the story today, in the gospel reading, in Matthew chapter 22, there's a question about paying taxes, and a coin comes into the picture. Back in Jesus' day, the image on the coin was Caesar. Now, you could pretty much divide the world up between worshiping the one true God and then worshiping Caesar. Listen to this dialogue. Then the Pharisees went and took counsel how to entangle him in his talk. And they sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are true and teach the way of God truthfully and care for no man, for you do not regard the position of men. Tell us then what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? And they did this to try to trick him, try to get him to stumble. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus, aware of their malice, said, Why put me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the money for the tax. And they brought him a coin. They brought him a coin, and Jesus said to them, Whose likeness and inscription is this? Now, in modern America, we've got the dollar bill, the 5, the 10, we got the 20, and so forth. And there's images on those of our presidents and other people. Same with some of our coins. And Jesus said to them, Whose likeness and inscription is this? And they answered correctly. They said, Well, it's Caesar's. And then he said to them something very powerful, and they could never trip him up. He said, Well, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. Now, it's pretty obvious why he would say, Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and that is because Caesar's image is on the coin. But then he says, But you should give to God what is God's. And what's he talking about there? Well, if the image on the coin is Caesar, then what about you? Well, you are created in the image and likeness of God. And so return to Caesar what is Caesar's. You can pay the tax, but give back to God what his image is on, and that is you. And that's a great lesson for us to learn. A wonderful lesson for us to learn is that we are created in the image and likeness of God, which means that we have this capacity to love, we have reason, and we have a will. We are capable of doing incredible things that are in some ways God-like. And so the point of this story is to remind us this week that we are created in the image and likeness of God, and we cannot sit by idly in our culture. We must give ourselves totally over to God, give our bodies to God, give our minds to God, give our spirit over to the Lord. I like what the Catechism says, and this is good advice for those who are struggling with many gods instead of monotheism, the one true God. It says in paragraph 2097, the worship of the one God sets man free from turning in on himself, from the slavery of sin and the idolatry of the world. If you've got many gods, your life becomes complicated. As it says in the Catechism, the worship of the one God sets us free. You want to simplify your life? Worship one God. You're created in the image and likeness of God. Give yourself over to Him completely this week. Now, here's your assignment. No doubt you're going to run into money this week. You're going to handle money every time you see an image on a dollar. Anytime you see an image on a coin, I want you to remind yourself that there is an image in your life, the image of God, and give to God what is God's this week.